The avoidant person approaches the possibility of reconnection with extreme caution, their nervous system hypervigilant for any signs that returning will recreate the pressure and emotional intensity that triggered their initial withdrawal. Before allowing themselves to re-enter a relationship, they unconsciously deploy a series of psychological tests designed to assess whether their former partner has transformed in ways that make reconnection safe. These tests operate beneath conscious awareness, emerging as behavioral patterns that evaluate whether the dynamics that once felt suffocating have shifted into something the avoidant person can tolerate without triggering their flight response. The breadcrumb test of emotional reactivity. The avoidant person begins by offering minimal contact or attention, small gestures that provide just enough connection to gauge their former partner's response. They might send a casual message, react to content their ex creates, or create opportunities for brief interaction. This breadcrumb offering serves as a critical assessment of whether their former partner will immediately escalate into demands for more connection, explanations for past behavior, or expectations about relationship status. They watch carefully to see whether these minimal offerings trigger desperate pursuit or anxious questioning about intentions and feelings. If their former partner responds with matching casualness, neither ignoring them completely nor flooding them with intense emotion, it signals that the dynamics have shifted. The avoidant person needs evidence that their ex can receive small gestures of reconnection without immediately pressuring for commitment or emotional intensity. Passing this test requires demonstrating emotional regulation and the ability to accept connection at the pace the avoidant person offers without demanding acceleration. Failing this test occurs when the former partner interprets breadcrumbs as invitations for deep conversation about the relationship, immediately seeks clarification about intentions, or responds with either cold rejection or overwhelming enthusiasm. Both extremes trigger the avoidant person's fear that reconnection will either recreate the suffocating pressure they escaped or result in punishment for their previous withdrawal. The independence verification test. The avoidant person carefully observes whether their former partner has developed a fulfilling life independent of their presence and validation. They look for evidence that their ex has maintained friendships, pursued interests, achieved goals, and cultivated happiness without relying on the avoidant person as their primary source of emotional fulfillment. This test addresses their deepest fear about relationships, becoming responsible for someone else's emotional well-being and happiness. They need reassurance that their former partner will not collapse back into emotional dependency if they reconnect. The avoidant person watches for signs that their ex has built a life they genuinely enjoy, rather than merely filling time while waiting for reunion. Evidence of authentic thriving, rather than performative moving on, makes reconnection feel safer, as it suggests the relationship can exist as enhancement rather than necessity. Passing this test requires genuine investment in personal growth and life satisfaction that exists independent of the avoidant person's return. Failing occurs when the former partner's life appears hollow or on hold, waiting for the avoidant person to restore meaning and purpose. This dependency, even if unstated, triggers the avoidant person's core fear of entrapment and obligation. The boundary respect assessment. The avoidant person tests whether their former partner has developed and maintains healthy boundaries that protect their own dignity and self-respect. They may employ their old patterns of emotional distance, vague communication, or hot and cold behavior to see if their ex will tolerate poor treatment or has learned to require consistent respect. This test reveals whether reconnection will involve someone who accepts breadcrumbs or someone who expects reciprocal investment. They need evidence that their former partner has transformed from someone who accepted whatever scraps of attention were offered into someone who maintains standards for how they deserve to be treated.